Hi everybody, my name's Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. In a way these things are really interesting for me. We've done this show, as most of you know, we've done this show literally for 12 or 13 years now. And, now we're available all over the world. And on every one of these shows, this is the 224th show we've done. On every one of those, in some way, I've given an introduction to them. And I've given an introduction throughout the years, from 1995 to 2008. And what's the message? What is always the message? What is this show about? What is this human life about? Why are we here? Why are we here together? Why are we here in so many different forms, in a way, from so many different conceptions of what is real and what's important? And something, again, knows. It knows that we're here to come to an understanding, a realization, a home. We're here to come home together as brothers and sisters, as people who started out thinking that there were differences, who started out thinking that we're from different countries and different religions and different colors and different sexual preferences and different heights and weights and ages. And to come into a knowing, to come into a realization of an understanding of what this life is about, which is love, which is the experience of love in a human body, which people call God. And every one of these shows and every one of these introductions somehow comes to that, comes back to the dedicated to the oneness, to dedicated to that reality over and over and over again. And people have said, well, why don't you do something different in your introduction? And every time I come up here to do this, I really don't have anything that I've planned to say. And what keeps coming through me is that message. And after a while you begin to figure that in essence, that's the message of Bridging Heaven and Earth, that's the message of this show. That's the message that we have been given the honor and the opportunity and the destiny to put forth on this planet. That there is a great love, there is a oneness. There is a truth that we can all of us, experience in such a pure form that we know the truth, that we know the love. And in that we come into a new earth, in a way, a new life, a new being. A being of connectedness, a being of joy, a being of loving collaboration. And more on this planet we're seeing that, and more the opportunities are there for us, individually, collectively, collaboratively, and as a species as a whole, to really be in a joyous and loving and creative and collaborative explosion. And we're starting to see that happening. We're starting to see the portals of all that energy, all that expansive, connective, infinite energy coming in and bathing us in its experience of vastness and love. So all we have to do is kind of just settle in, relax, let this energy permeate our beings, let it overtake us, let it spread. Don't fight it, be open to it. And the time is now for us to experience that as a species, as a planet. And really, you can feel the new paradigms, you could feel the new recognitions. And there are no boundaries to it. And tonight's guests are boundaryless. I mean, they live for the vastness, they live for the connection. Sri Ramka and Kira are just spiritual teachers and authors, and they have sacred cards of ascension, of self-ascension. They have books about 2012, about self-ascension, about love. And their world service declaration is to open the authentic path of self-ascension through sacred union with the soul. Now think of that, to open the authentic path of self-ascension through sacred union of the soul. Pretty amazing, pretty beautiful. And they say that their sacred intention of being is to listen, to love, and to hold the space for enlightenment. And they're here with us to share that vision, to share that experience, to share that destiny, to share that openness, and to share that love. And as most of you know who've watched Bridging before, we usually have music videos, and tonight we're honored to have 2 music videos by the world-renowned Krishna Das. And his music in English and Hindi, and just, he's amazing. And the purity of his music is part of that new paradigm, is part of that love. And again, as most of you know, we're in the middle of this exploding international art project, where it came as a vision, and it came as a destiny, it came as a dream, to put out to the world that let's heal the planet with our creativity, let's heal the planet with our love, with our collaboration. And anybody who wants to, anywhere, no skill level, no age limit, no format requirements, any way you can create a piece in any way and get it to us here with the theme Bridging Heaven and Earth. We'll show it on the show. We'll have this extraordinary, Bridging Heaven and Earth art virtual gallery, and all these pieces will be like acupuncture for the planet. And we're getting pieces literally from every corner of the globe, every part of the world. And tonight we're showing 2 extraordinary pieces. Ramona Teo is doing the Bridging Heaven Earth mandala, and Susan Watson is a bridge between hearts. 2 extraordinary pieces, one from the United States, one from Paris. And again, anybody who wants to participate with us, join us. It's to heal the planet, it's to heal the heart of the planet, it's to do acupuncture for the planet, and your love and your intention and your potential to create and collaborate with us is the means for that to happen. So it's Heaven to Earth Art is our art project site, and it's so beautiful. And when you see these pictures and see the poems and the writings and the artist statements, it'll just blow you away. So we're going to have a short meditation, then we'll have the first Krishna Das video, and then we're going to have Shri and Kira with us. So please join me in a meditation. Just settle in, relax, and then we'll have the Krishna Das video. Thank you. Actually, that felt really good. I hope it felt good for you as well. So the first Krishna Das, world famous, just beautiful, tours the world, spreading love. The yoga chant Krishna Das. Enjoy.
Jai Siya Ram. Jai Hanuman. Jai Siya Ram. Jai Jai Hanuman. Anjani Jai Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Jai Siya Ram, Jai 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 Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Jai Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Jai Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Everybody. Jai Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. 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 Jai Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman Gosai. Kripa karo Gurudev Kinai. Sankat mochana Kripanidhan. Sankat mochana Kripanidhan. Jai Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Jai Siya Ram, Jai Jai Hanuman. Jai Siya Ram, Jai Hanuman. Jai Siya Ram, Jai 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 Jai Hanuman.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So that was a beautiful video, wasn't it? And the picture you're seeing in between us now is Ramona Teo, the Bridging Heaven and Earth mandala. It's acrylic on handmade paper. Shri and Kira introduced us to Ramona. I mean, this is an extraordinary piece. I mean, I don't know, how we're showing it on the air, but the power of it and the beauty of it is just so amazing. So anybody who wants to join us is welcome. heaventoearthart.com. So Shri, Kira, welcome. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have
Our
you here,
pleasure.
finally.
Oh, yes, it's our pleasure to be here with you.
So which one of you guys wants to start and just explode? Just start exploding.
Well, if it's an explosion, Shri should start.
Now, why would that be? Is he the
let you take that
exploder?
one in.
Is he the exploder?
Well, if I start, I may not end. Is the thing.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see about that.
That's
Go
right.
ahead.
Well, we are just delighted to be here, to be able to talk a little bit about our work and about the work of how art and creativity all seem to take us to the same place. I think all of us have had moments in our lives where we go, aha, that moment where we're in the bliss of the no mind, the bliss of the connection. And this is the place that I celebrate as the essence of the human spirit. So when we look at the art, when we look at beauty, when we look at union, ecstatic connection, there is a moment of no mind. It's a moment of oneness. And I believe that every human being must anchor in that place in order to co-create an external world that is reflective of the divine. And so I'm so delighted as we participate with you that you begin your show with a moment of meditation. It's an invitation to find that place inside. And from that place, we move forward. From that place, we have a dialogue. From that place, we have a beautiful world.
So are you done with the show? No, you said you were going to do the whole show. Well, all right. So that was an hour, but it seemed very short.
It was folding
It was
time.
beautiful.
Time passes quickly.
It does.
So Kira, why don't you give a little opening?
Well, I'd love to. Thanks for asking. You know, one of the things that's wondrous about this moment on the planet is that we are all at this point of divine recognition. You know, no matter where we go around the planet, Sri and I travel all around the world, and I don't care what political affiliation someone has, what their spiritual or religious background is, we all know things are changing. Without any doubt, it's actually a unifying principle that our world has woken up and is conspiring to help us each fulfill our destiny for being on the planet right now. And as you know, I died in 1989 of cancer. And one of the gifts of my death was the opportunity to be able to consciously step back into this vessel, recognizing that we never die, being able to look anyone in the eye without having to go to the brain on that concept, seeing the truth of who we all are, and that we absolutely stood in line to be on this planet at this moment in our collective history. And so it's exciting for me. It's very exciting to watch us as we come toward 2012, as we see, you know, Ramona is a 19-year-old girl exploding with this beautiful art, as are all these beautiful children around the planet. And the opportunity is ripe for the culmination of oneness through the expression of allness. And so you say, well, what's allness? Allness is without end. It's the expression of everything. So if we chose to be on this planet, if we stood in line to be here, then what would stop us from expressing everything? And when we can see that from the recognition of the divine plan and process, then judgment fades away, and we come to a level of awareness where we can witness our great expansion of allness back into oneness. So it's an extraordinary time to be here, and an extraordinary time for bridging heaven and earth, because more than ever, we are doing just that.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things about the diversity on our planet is it inspires us to find the oneness that is the underpinning of all the allness, as Kira says. That we are, as creative beings, we've created everything. We've created death, destruction, we've created beauty and harmony. We have done it all. And at some point, I think each of us must awaken to the fact that there is an indestructible oneness that is allowing this diversity to express. And when we're able to see that, we can delight in all these forms of expression. And no longer do they seem conflictual. They seem part of the cacophony which turns to harmony. And that's a sweet place to be.
We talk about it as perfect and getting better.
Yeah, awesome.
Indeed.
And so, how in your paths, individually and collectively, has that realization been made more real, been made more consistent, been made more, I mean, that's what all the spiritual paths throughout history, all the great teachers and masters and goddesses have come to teach that path. How did you guys come to it, and how would you recommend it for others?
Well, that's a great question. And I love that question because how we came to it is not dissimilar to how many others come to it. You know, most of us, if we think or reflect upon childhood, I would venture a guess that most of us as children were still more connected to our divine nature than we grew out of, or we acclimatized to this nature of the planet and said, oh, I'm going to push that away. You know, I always share that when I was a child, the lecture I used to get before people came over wasn't say please and thank you. It was don't tell them what their dead grandmother's saying, because it made my parents so crazy that this vision was around me. And then, being a good little girl, growing up in the 60s and 70s, I went as dark as I could because I was taught it wasn't okay to have this vision. And then I died in 1989. And even then, Alan, it wasn't enough. You know, the fear was so deep and so strong, it wasn't enough. And for Sri Ramka and I both, it was hitting that bottom of realizing you cannot control anything. You know, running through the 80s, running through the 90s, trying to control everything, and then finally having the universe step forward and say, you know what, let's take a look at who's really in control here. And I love sharing that. For me, it was getting to what I call the surrender of what surrender looks like moment. And I was in the middle of a second bankruptcy. I was a few years out of my death. I was headed toward another death. And I finally remember just being down on my knees saying, you know what, I'm yours. I can't do this way anymore. And literally, and I write about this in our first book, Sacred Union, The Journey Home, this beautiful golden light came before me and showed me two paths in my life. And everything clicked from what I had agreed to when I came back from my near-death experience, what had happened as a child, very powerful experiences I had as a child where I literally saw the destruction of this planet as a possibility. And in that moment, I made the choice. And you would think making that choice would bring joy. No. In that moment, it actually brought terror and fear.
Right.
It
the
did.
unknown. It's
Absolutely.
well unknown
Yeah.
at that point.
And
the
remorse.
momentum isn't in that, that emotion to be there.
It's not. And
Right.
I also had a grieving process because I knew I was leaving behind everything that I thought my life should have been. And I woke up, and it was New Year's Eve when it happened. And I'll never forget waking up that New Year's Day knowing my life would never be the same. And within a year, we had met, gotten married, our first book was on the planet, and that was literally within a year of that surrendering what surrender looked like. I just stopped cutting deals with God and said, I'm yours. Whatever you want, I'm here to serve. And if not, there's no reason to still be on the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can't do it joyously and lovingly and in service, what's the point?
Well, literally, what was the
It's
point?
been enough struggle.
Yeah, right. What's the
Yeah.
point?
But
And
you know,
what was your experience like that?
Well, there were
If
several.
you tell me you died of cancer,
No,
you
I
both
was
look
definitely
too good.
afraid of cancer.
Right. No. Yeah, right. Most of us don't like the thought of that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we all of us have a commonality, is that yearning for oneness until we claim or be that oneness. However, oneness and unity are felt as a death to the ego. And I think each and every one of us has conformed to some extent to say, I'll make my mark, I'll do what I'll survive within the rules of the society. And yet there's a hollowness inside, because when we live according to an external orientation, an external value system, it's never quite authentic with what's really here. And so many of us go through life with that sense of hollowness, wanting the oneness, yet looking outward in the outer world, until at some point we have that if not now, when moment. When am I going to let go of this external dependency? Now for me, I had strived very hard to be successful in business, and I was very creative in business, and I creatively conspired with the universe to build a large company, and then I went bankrupt. And it was shortly after my bankruptcy I realized that bankruptcy is a trick that spirit uses to bring large egos to their knees.
It doesn't always work.
It doesn't always.
That's
No,
true.
it doesn't
That's
always
true.
work.
For me, I was on my knees, and in that humbling moment, and the moment that lasted really about a year-long sense of despair, a year-long sense of, what am I really doing here? I tried so hard and I was so close, and then it was snatched. Until I finally began to reclaim my sense of humor and realized what a gift. Because had I continued, had I banked the money and had the fame and success from that energy, that me focus, what would I have done? I would have reinforced my ego. I would have been even more inflated. So I got out before I got that inflated.
No,
it's
it's hard to realize at the time how lucky you are.
indeed.
With that. But I mean, we're talking about there were adversities, and,
Very much
now
so.
we're seeing that it really doesn't take that level of adversity, that level of getting hit by a Mack truck to have that realization, because the
Exactly.
energies are expanding. Why don't you guys talk about that a little?
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah.
And that is the gift, isn't it? That we are finally at that moment in time where, and this shift really began right around the millennium. You know, we all had this energetic going on around the millennium. Lots of us were storing water and food, and, you know, everybody was convinced that their computers would blow up on New Year's Day. And we did have an energetic explosion. We very much had that happen. Yet it's been gently unfolding and in some ways escalating. I think we can all agree that time certainly feels like it's speeding up, right? Everyone's having lots of these acceleration energies happening around them. And the fact that we don't have to go into these deep, adverse ways to wake up is one of the most profound gifts that has come
As the
forward.
subtlety grows,
Oh.
the lessons don't have to be as gross.
Exactly.
People's ability to choose is more empowered, it seems, than ever before.
Yeah.
It used to be that we yearned or wished for something and then had to get slapped in order to finally claim it and to say enough of the pain, enough of this struggle, I choose to relax and be in joy. Whereas now I'm seeing young people that simply go, why are you struggling? They say to a friend, you can just let go and let spirit flow through you. I never had that realization when I was 20. I yearned for it, but I didn't own it. And that's the difference I'm seeing, is that people are owning the perennial truths, not just wishing them.
And I have to, I'm sorry.
go ahead, no,
I was going to say, and I have to jump in. That's the gift of the perceived chaos on the planet right now. We are so loved that our beautiful planet is saying, I will support this. I will support your awakening. And so all of the events that are happening around us, when we can genuinely allow ourselves to see them as a gift to assist us into this awakening, are helping all of these beautiful beings really come into the truth of who they are. And as Shriramka was mentioning here, the critical piece, Alan, is to make the choice. Just make the choice. You know, it's like the matrix pill. If you want to go do density, as I refer to it, then go do it. And do it well and stop pretending you're something other than that. You know, get out of the pain of being on the fence. Or if you want to jump into your awareness or your spiritual growth, then do that too. Don't be a weekend spiritualist, because the only person you're hurting there is yourself. You're caught in that pain. And the gift of our planet is she's conspiring to help you really get clear on what you want. Clarity is before us like it has never been before. And we can all see that because we are so extraordinarily powerful and so incredibly co-creative, we've brought ourselves to this point. Now we are entering into the time of our spiritual maturity. We're the children that have grown up and said, beloved Gaia, let us now take care of you. Beloved world, thank you for conspiring us to wake up. We don't need to be children anymore. We're ready to be responsible, co-creative
Yeah, I mean, we probably will
adults.
never, you know, in a sense, be other than children of God, but, you know, grown-ups of God as well.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, elders, I mean, we're using words to describe, but in a fullness.
Right.
That the Father and I, the Goddess and I are one.
Exactly.
Well, that's allowing the wisdom to take form in this body, in this place. The wisdom's always been available. We've been too busy dancing with our egos, dancing with distraction, that we haven't been listening. And I think one of the things that our Earth is showing us right now is this vibration, this chaotic contribution that she's offering with the ice melting and hurricanes and more earthquakes than before, and the Schumann resonance increasing. It's stimulating all of us at a cellular level to activate our, what we would refer to as our crystalline DNA, to activate the essential knowingness that we aren't just this. We aren't just of the world. We are custodians of this. We are custodians.
Well, do you
of
think the
the world.
vibration is bringing us into the realization of the experience of what we would call the oneness, so that there is no separation? So, you know, the dolphins and the whales and the ice caps are us. So if that's melting, you know, that there is no separation between any of those things, and that's just the creation of mind.
And there are many beings that are invested in that creation. They still are really identified with it as an allness, as a differentiation. So when the illusion begins to shake you, it's an opportunity to loosen your grip on the hypnosis and step back from the picture a little bit and go, oh, that is me. You are, I am you are one. And I can embrace a peaceful way of being as opposed to gripping more tightly. And there's a lot of people gripping more tightly right now. And at some point, they'll either awaken or they're just going to shake themselves continuously.
But wouldn't you say that the energy on the planet is resonating at such a level that what was before, say, only in the sacred pyramids. You know, a certain energy that is expansive that way, is shaking that way, is more prevalent now, is like sweeping the planet on a grand scale.
Literally, there are no secrets left other than the gift of discovering the truth of who you are in alignment with all of that energy. And that is the profound gift, is it not? That we are here at this moment right now. We are able to discover that truth. Imagine your life without any self-doubt, when you can completely surrender to the universe in divine trust, in the recognition that trust and love are really, in essence, the same thing.
Yeah, I always describe it as the Father and I are one, the
Yes.
Goddess and I are one. There's just,
Yeah.
you know, now what we'll do is do the second Krishna Das video, and we'll come back and just do more love, do more oneness. So the second video, Krishna Das, Shri Ram, enjoy.
Calling all you hungry hearts, everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this body mine. Calling all you hungry spirits, all the lost and the left behind. Calling all you hungry hearts, everywhere through endless time. Gather around and share this meal. Your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. Calling all you hungry hearts, everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this body mine. Calling all you hungry spirits, all the lost and the left behind. Calling all you hungry hearts, everywhere through endless time. Gather around and share this meal. Your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. Shri Guru Charan Saroja Raja, Nijamano Mukur Sudhari, Barano Raghubara Bhimala Jasu, Jodayak Palachari, Buddhihin Tanu Janike, Suniram Bhavanu Kumar, Bala Buddhi Vidya Dehu Mohi, Harahu Kalesh Vikar, Jaya Hanuman Jnana Gunasar, Jaya Kapishati Loka Ujar, Ramaduta Tulutta Baladham, Anjani Putra Pavana Sutana, Mahavira Bikram Bajrang, Kumati Nivar Sumati Kesang, Anchana Varana Virada Subes, Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kes, Hatha Bajura Dvaja Viraje, Kande Muja Chani Osaje, Shankara Suana Kesarinan, Teja Pratap Mahajagaban, Vidyavan सिंधिका विकट रूप धरे लंक जरा भीम रूप धरे असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए ये रघुवीर हर्षि लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत सम भाई सहस बदन तुम्हारो जस गान जस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगान सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद शारद सहित ईसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहांते कभी कोविद काय सके कहते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवा कीन राम मिलाय रजपद दीन तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण मान अंकेश्वर भय सब जग जान जुग सहस्त्र जो जन पारबान लील्योताय मधुर फल जान प्रभु मुद्रिका मेरे मुख माही कला दिलांगी गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के चेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे.
Hi, welcome back. So that was a beautiful video. Thank you, Krishna Das, for sending that to us. And the picture you're seeing between us now, another piece for the Incredible Art Project, is A Bridge Between Hearts by a good friend of bridging, Susan Watson. She's from Paris. It's an acrylic on canvas, and it's just another expression of that love and that oneness and that creativity and collaboration. And anybody, don't worry about being a professional artist. If you want to express that love, contact us. You'll see the credits, you know, under the thing. You'll see the Heaven to Earth Art website. Just join us. We'd like everybody to join us and do as much acupuncture for the planet as possible. So it's good to be back with you two again.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Thank you.
So you people have had this experience, and somehow there was an awakening, an understanding, a realization, some connection happened. And we see that the energy on the planet's making it more accessible to people now. I mean, would there be anything that you would tell people except to want to choose that? Would you say there have been old tools or old time tools of meditation and satsang and service? And how would you describe what would be good for people or of value for people to kind of be open to at this point?
Great question.
It really begins with self-trust. You know, it doesn't matter what tool you use, if you're doubting your capacity as a being, it will never take you to where you want to go. If you are always looking outside of yourself, and many people approach their tools from that kind of standpoint, that somehow my tool will fix me.
My teacher.
Yeah, or my teacher will fix me. They're avoiding that essential responsibility. And it really begins with, in this moment, I choose to trust myself. And by relaxing there, then we choose what tool we might need to deepen. It's in the deepening of our conscious connection that we find the bliss of the beingness. And you can't get there except through the choice to trust, to relax into the
And would you say that that trust can come, or that you can build the momentum to make that choice of trust? I mean, would there be almost like a tool to, you know, which came
tool to
first, the
get to-
chicken or the egg? The trust or the tool to trust?
Well, we talked earlier about having a hitting bottom kind of moment, that many people need a pain in their life, because the pain shows them that they're indestructible, that it didn't take you away. The near-death experience that my beloved Kira had demonstrated to her that she was bigger than death, so to speak. So what do we need in our lives to finally let go of a sense of limitation, a sense that we're less than? It can be as simple as a choice. It can be an epiphany staring at a flower. It could be skinning your knees in life's sidewalks. I don't know. Each person's different.
And I need to jump in here that the gift, we're talking about tools. The ultimate tool has always been within you. Your heart is an extraordinary gift that once awakened beyond the mind controlling it, has all the answers, all the wisdom of the universe. We, for years, for eons on our planet, ages, we had a kind of a guru-disciple relationship where we sought these answers from another who held this presence, and it was a wonderful model. And I'm saying was, because it was a wonderful model. And for about 2,000 years and beyond that, we were encouraged to go to the heart, go to the heart. We're at the point now where the heart is the root center of a self-ascended state of being that opens up a precious connection to greater universal connectivity. We're starting to finally talk about words like globalization. What about universalization? What about recognizing that we truly are part of a greater network than just this earth? And when we can allow ourselves to access the greatest tool there is without doubt, then every moment is a miracle. And miracles conspire around us so frequently that a new paradigm of living becomes your reality. So the question comes in, how? How do I do that, right? Somebody's watching the show right now and saying, cool, how do I do that? One of the things that I found that was so easy, and it's really silly and it really works, is go grab a pack of sticky notes. All right, those little Post-it notes? All right, and first you have to commit to getting them. Then you commit to writing 3 words on every single one. And those 3 words are thank you, breathe. And then you put them everywhere. Like I'd tuck one in Shree's shirt pocket, or under the cereal box flap, or in your car, or on a dollar bill in your wallet. And then the next step is you have to commit that every time you see one, you stop, you put your hands on your heart, even just one hand, or if you're driving, put 2 fingers on your heart, but touch your heart, and you say thank you. And you don't need to know why or for what reason you're saying thank you, and you take a breath. Because when you take a breath into the body, you're sending a signal to the universe that says, I appreciate the gift of being here right now in this moment. And the mind disengages. And then if you really want to do it, you smile. Because your smile will absolutely connect the rest of those energies. And I learned through my death that when you wake up every morning, you have a good day. You're here right now. Now what do you want to do with that? So thank you, and breathe, and smile. And something that simple will bring you to the greatest tool that has ever been.
Freedom is found by interrupting the pattern, interrupting the addiction.
Yeah, changing the momentum.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's the space between breath. It's the space between thoughts. And so the gateway is truly the heart, and the simplest practice, rather than any complex mantra or meditation, is to take a hand and bring it to your heart. And take that thank you breath, that conscious breath. Interrupt that which distracts you from the fact that you're already here. We're interrupting the distraction. And by doing so, what is really here can come forward in consciousness, and you'll be delighted and peaceful.
If you take the time to do it.
Yeah. It is a simple choice, and yet we live in such a fast-paced world that we're romanced, we're addicted to the distraction. People are overstimulated. It's wild. We even on television, they tend to break things up into little segments. They don't have a dialogue like this, where we can kind of steep in the connection, steep in the exchange. And we need to unwind from that hyper-chopped kind of perceptual field that is constantly putting us in a state of alarm. It's time to breathe.
Fear, alarm.
Yeah. Yeah, it creates a reactive world. And that too is a choice.
It is.
So what you're saying in essence is there's a certain momentum that seems to exist now. The illusion of the speed, the illusion of knowledge, the illusion of wisdom, the illusion of business, and all the things that seem real. And if we just stop and go in between that and just slow that momentum down, come home even for a second and start to do that on a consistent basis, then when everything else is stripped away, there we are, their love is, their oneness is, their...
What
the
if you
connection.
could do both? What if we can simply know, and I mean know it in our tissues, that underpinning the chaos and underpinning the illusionary perceptual field, there is a permanent peaceful state of oneness. And that you can delight in the earthly creations, or what we call density illusions, and have fun with it.
You're in a human body. You might as well be here and
enjoy your body,
it, right?
enjoy the traffic,
Right.
enjoy the cacophony and the smoke
Right.
and whatever it is, because we're able to hold dual consciousness. It isn't this
Well, there's
or
no
that.
separation anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
That I am the canvas upon which all this stuff is dancing, and I am always here.
Yeah, we always talk about that as like you rub up against a magnet enough, but you have to have rubbed up against a magnet enough to know that you're a magnet.
Exactly.
And that's why we breathe and
then-
pause and
right.
rub up against the
Right.
truth, the
Right,
essential
exactly.
truth. And when you've opened that up to the point that it is
It's
you,
open.
it is you,
And you're still in a human body, and we're building new paradigms, and
it becomes a lot more fun.
joyous, right? And really, then the choice is this next experience joyous and loving? Because if it isn't, why bother?
Exactly.
You know, we were talking about that in doing the show, and doing your. But actually, you should talk about that a little. This incredible thing you're doing March of next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, why don't you talk about that a little?
Well, we're excited about that. We recognize.
Manifesting that oneness, manifesting that love, and spreading it, and making it
Exactly.
available, and opening the creativity up and the collaboration up and all those things. So,
And
yeah.
the celebration.
Right.
This event that's coming forward in March of 2009 is called 2012 Quantum Leap, a celebration of consciousness, art, and music. And the recognition that look at the power, just as the three of us here in conjunction with all you beautiful ones who are watching the show, look at the energy we're creating. Well, imagine about 1,500 of us together doing this as a co-creative principle where we celebrate with each other through divine interaction this recognition, exactly what we're talking about right now, not being done where we just conceptualize it, but the opportunity to really experience firsthand this gift. And there's your co-creative power. There's kind of that quantum leap, because
That's
we
the new
are.
paradigms on the bridge.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, and we have to quantum leap. You know, one of the things I love sharing with people is if you take a flashlight, right, and you put the flashlight in your hand, what do you see? You don't see much of anything. And so you're never going to play your way off this game board of Earth, right? You can have a heck of a good time, but you won't play your way off. How do you lift? Well, if you take that flashlight and just crack it above your hand, how much light floods out? And if you're in a dark room, it's extraordinary. It would be enough to even illuminate your way home. That's the leap. We've done that. We've done the lift. Now we're ready to let it all come forward. And we are at a rapid time. There are lots of scientific things that document we're at this time, well beyond the gifts of recognizing the energy that we're all sharing. And it's time for us to come together and send the signal to the universe that says, we get it. We're here. We're not just going to talk about it. We're really going to do something about this. And then together, you know, if I grab the two of your hands, it's a lot easier to jump across the cavern than if I'm staring at it by myself. And so imagine when we're all unified in that one principle together and say, okay, we've arrived and we're moving
And it's
forward.
even a principle makes it almost like mental, but a
Yeah.
realization and experience.
Yes, thank you.
Well, this
Yes.
is the point. When we can gather people together and they can witness each other in an ascended state, and we call the word ascended state that which is lifting off of this game board of density from the heart up. When we are gathered together in that state of being, then the mirroring effect, the magnification, the synergy is awesome.
Well, we always talked about it, I mean, for a long time, and we saw it, you know, doing this show and reaching out to people and people reaching out to us. There were extraordinary separate points of light all over the planet.
Yes,
But there
yes.
was never a beam of light because
Right.
people still couldn't quite collaborate. They had their own guru, their own concept, their own way. And now more and more you're seeing people come together joyously and lovingly
Yes.
with this little ego maybe as a human body can carry, you know,
Yes.
or coming into more and more of that. And that beam is getting much clearer, much stronger, much more powerful.
You know, we were recently in Guatemala and met with a Mayan elder. And I asked this man through two interpreters to get to his native tongue, what is the prophecy of the eagle and the condor coming together? What does that really mean? And translator goes from English to Spanish, and another translator goes from Spanish to Quechua. And then I watch him and he just smiles. And his response was, it means more light. When the
Right.
eagle and the condor
Right.
together, the beam that you're talking about is more forceful. The unity is more tangible.
Yeah, 1 and 1 becomes 11.
Exactly.
Instead of the,
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the time we're in. And as we cycle toward 2012, as this energy is lifting, we're being given an opportunity to consciously recognize the unity that is present. And 1 and 1 becomes 11, becomes 1 again,
Right.
essentially. And so it's a delightful time to be alive. In spite of anything you might see or read, we are at a time of more co-creative potential than ever before.
It's, really seems like it. And people, if you look at what's going on in the newspaper, you look at still the ethnic cleansing, all the, disharmony or
Yeah.
however you would describe it, you can really feel that that's like a cleansing and the end of a dying paradigm. And there's such
Yeah.
a force of this beams coming together and beams coming together. Like we were talking earlier about all these incredible things happening on the planet that all of us who've been involved in spiritual things for a long time have never heard of, and they like pop out, and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
It's a celebration.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I believe we're at a time of great remembering. I had heard a story about a tribe in Africa where if somebody injured another person or stole or did something we would consider wounding to another being, the entire village would gather around that person and they would love him. They would cradle this person in love because he had forgotten who he was. And that's this essential heart-centered understanding. We must remember who we are. And then the essential morality of that beams out into our
Well,
creations.
we're all vibrations. So if you're, in a cave somewhere, you don't even have to be doing a television show, God forbid, or doing a beautiful event. I mean, if you're vibrating that, then you're changing every cell on
And
the planet.
we're conditioning the morphogenic field, the unity. And so the more people that anchor in that recognition of beingness, we do condition the space for all. And those that are still a little bit hypnotized by the illusion and are acting out in a wounding way are being cradled in love. And they too, in their own time and way, will find their way. It isn't about being confrontive. It's about being inclusive and allowing the vibration to penetrate.
And it's really happening. I mean, that's the incredible thing, is
Yeah.
that really that feeling of inclusiveness, that feeling of the infinite. We talk
Yes.
about infinite and inclusive. If something that we're putting out doesn't have the feeling of being infinite and being inclusive, then, let's make sure that we are. That any event we do, anything we do, we want to really be open-hearted, open-handed, and, let whoever wants is drawn to it.
And the key is to really allow ourselves to let go of any form of self-distrust. That needs to be underscored. And as Sri just mentioned with the beautiful example of this tribe in Africa, what if in your awakening you are surrounded by those who can help you feel safe? Shrank and I have really been on a lot of very large-scale international radio shows and other shows where most of the calls that come into us are people who want reassurance. Please help me know I'm not crazy. Please help me feel safe. And this is one of the greatest gifts that I believe that we can bring, is that our presence needs to free others to do the same. We've had a great time talking here. We all have these words going on, yet we know that the true show is happening on an energetic level.
Right.
That's the
Vibration.
gift. Yeah.
And yet there will be, if everything goes according to plan, there will
Right.
be this tape, there will be
Right.
this video, this DVD that will be available all over the world
Exactly.
within, breaths in a
Yes.
sense.
Yes.
And then everybody can feel it. And that's a new part of the new paradigm as well. And I think part of the new paradigm is we're coming to the end of the show. As amazing as that is.
Yes.
So, really, thank you guys for coming. It's
Our
so
pleasure.
beautiful.
Thank
Really, it's so
you.
beautiful.
A great
So,
gift.
It really is a great gift. And
Thank
it's,
you.
I don't know if you people can feel it, but really, I feel it's like a great gift to the world to have just the opportunity to all come together. And if you ever want any information about the art project, Sri and Kira, their books, Alan, 805-687-2053. Good night. We love you. Thank you.